Well, as you all know, there are major geopolitical issues virtually on our doorstep and a few domestic ones to boot. Let's go to the outstanding foreign editor of the Australian newspaper, Greg Sheridan, to seek his clarifying views. Greg, thank you for your time. Look, just a quick one on Donald Trump, though none of us are armed with a lot of information. What are we to make of an FBI raid on Donald Trump's Florida home when, in fact, the inquiries into Hillary Clinton and Hunter Biden seem to have made no progress at all?
Well, you're right, Alan. We're operating on limited knowledge. The FBI inquiry into Hillary Clinton during the 2016 campaign did her enormous damage, and she had certainly mismanaged official State Department emails and so on. Trump lives his life flirting on the edge of illegality all the time, and I don't know whether he has a genius for just staying, 1 degree on the right side of the law in the most ambiguous. He's like the Chinese Communist Party, he's brilliant at what you call grey zone activities.
Yes.
So, I mean, we'll just have to see what the FBI had here. They're alleging he's stolen or misused or misappropriated classified documents. Honestly, if he's done that, that's probably the least of his crimes.
Yes, I mean, returning something to the archives. Is this, though, a weaponisation of the justice system, or the radical left Democrats who don't want Trump to run for the presidency?
Look, it probably is. Trump, the greatest asset Trump has had has been his enemies. So I think Trump has, since the last election, behaved absolutely contemptibly. I think he is. Dick Cheney, the most conservative person ever to be vice president, said he is the most dangerous man to American democracy in the history of America. And I think that's true. But at the same time, his enemies accuse him of many things that he didn't do. So his greatest asset, the only time I ever feel a smidgen of sympathy for Trump is when I hear the Democrats, making up stuff about Russian collusion and so on. That's the only thing that can move me to feel any sympathy for Trump at all, is to hear a Democratic congressman or CNN making stuff up about Trump. But in this particular matter, it may be that the FBI has a basis for action. Otherwise, they know it's going to be very heavily scrutinised, and the Republicans are likely to win the House in November, and that their actions will be heavily scrutinised. So maybe there's a basis there. I honestly don't know.
All right, let's just go to this big issue about China and Taiwan. Nancy Pelosi, Taiwan, and the Chinese response. There have to be serious concerns, don't they, Greg, with the Biden administration, because Pelosi goes, Biden's on the record as saying that a stop in Taiwan was, quote, not a good idea, and that the administration privately urged her to skip Taiwan on the trip. So are Biden and Pelosi on the same foreign policy page?
Well, it's a very good question, Alan. I mean, I think Biden has handled this with unbelievable incompetence, and he's looked weak in all directions. First of all, he should not have tried to stop Nancy Pelosi from going. But if he did want to stop her from going, the fact that he couldn't shows how weak he is. He couldn't even influence Nancy Pelosi. But then the fact that he wouldn't support her going properly shows how weak he is in the opposite direction. He's too weak to stand up to the Chinese. He's too weak to prevail on Nancy Pelosi, and his whole manner is so incoherent and doddering. I don't have an age prejudice here, Alan. I think you're just a fraction younger than Joe Biden, but if you were the President of the United States, I'd have full confidence that you were right on top of everything. I must say, Pelosi, who is not my favourite politician, she seems a lot sharper and more on the ball than Biden himself.